以下為個人意見節目，內容提及嘅所有政綱及言論均以嘉賓原話為準，敬請留意。
市選論英雄 Municipal Election Talks 節目主持 Ben 亮。
各位聽眾大家好，又係新嘅一集市選論英雄啦。咁喺10月27就係我哋1年1度嘅市選啦。4年1度嘅市選，我哋其實大家有冇想象一下，我哋到底有幾多個市呢？我做過少少嘅調查，原來喺加拿大係有超過3200個城市嘅。咁每一個城市都有最少嘅，有啲城市得一個市長。有啲城市一個市長加個市議員，有啲多倫多咁係一個市長加42個議員，咁加埋埋，我相信都有過萬嘅人係會參加呢次嘅市選嘅。咁就到底市政係咩嘢？到底我哋每個市議員為我哋做啲咩嘢呢？今日好高興呢，我哋係請到萬錦市第4區嘅一位市議員嘅候選人。佢個名叫 Neil Thomas，and we are so glad today we have Mr. Neil Thomas from Ward 4 Markham to join our program today, and like to tell 各位聽眾，Neil 嗰個選區其實就係由407以北、McCowan 以東、Knife Line 以西、Burwood 以南嗰個就係Neil 個區。Actually, I just mentioned to our audience that which area that Neil will cover. Before they make their vote, I would like Neil to introduce yourself. 我等阿 Neil 話俾大家聽，佢到底係一個咩人，佢嘅背景係點樣
？Thank you, Ben. Yes, my name is Neil Thomas. I'm running in the Markham Ward 4. Markham Ward 4 is basically McCowan to Ninth Line. At the south end is to 407, and at the top it's Burwood to 48, and then 16 makes up the top boundary. My family and I both live in Ward 4, and my daughter attended school in Ward 4.
多謝阿 Ben 你嘅問題。咁我係參選第4區嘅議員。咁我哋係由 McCowan 至到第9街，咁又到 Burwood 就去到 Highway 7咁樣嘅。咁就我過去咁多年都喺呢一個 Ward 嗰度居住，同埋我嘅太太同埋我嘅兒女都喺呢度，同埋我女兒都喺呢度居住嘅。咁所以我係呢次出嚟參選呢一個區嘅市議員。
I started my business in Markham about 10 years ago. Actually, we celebrated our 10th year in business this year. My company is called One CAD Solutions Limited, and we're next to Buttonville Airport on Renfrew Drive.
我過去呢10年咧就係喺Ward 4嗰度做生意嘅。咁我有一間公司係IT 嘅顧問公司嘅。咁就我呢個公司咧就會係坐落喺 Buttonville 嗰頭嘅，就係嗰個小型機場嗰附近嘅。
So One CAD Solutions, we offer professional engineering services mostly to the manufacturing industry.
我哋嘅生意嘅範圍咧就係俾嗰啲我哋係做機械嘅，專係供應嘅俾嗰啲係專業嘅工程公司去做嘅。
I'm very proud of the fact that over the last 10 years, we've given a lot of new Canadians and most of them new Chinese Canadians their first engineering experience in Canada.
我好高興咧，由於呢個公司咧，我可以提供好多就業嘅機會，特別係新移民嚟到加拿大。咁其中咧，我開心包括好多係中國嚟嘅專業人士。
So my background is I spent 20 years in the Canadian Air Force.
我曾經喺部隊嗰度咧從政參與咗個軍部隊咧係20年嘅。
So one of the unique experiences of being in the Canadian Air Force for 20 years is I got to live in a lot of places. I've lived in many provinces in Canada, as well as served my country in Germany as well.
喺當兵嘅20年之中咧，我有能力咧，我有機會咧係到世界唔同嘅地方去安頓落去。咁我更加覺得榮幸咧，係我哋可以為加拿大做一啲好有意義嘅嘢。
So at the end of my career, I took a job with a engineering company in Australia, and so it helped me have that experience of living in a country where I wasn't born. So to help me understand what a lot of Markham residents would feel.
喺我從軍之後，我就喺澳大利咧就係一個有份工作，就係做我呢種類似嘅工程工作嘅。咁亦係由於我喺一個好陌生嘅地區安頓落去咧，咁亦俾我感受得到啦，喺一個陌生嘅地方安頓生活落去嘅嗰個情況。
So that's basically my introduction. And I'm very proud to be running for a ward councillor. I have the energy and passion, and I feel I'm at a point in my life where I can give back to my community.
以上就係我一個簡單嘅介紹，咁但係我呢次咧就要參選呢個萬錦市第4區嘅市員咧，咁我係有我自己嘅抱負，因為我一定係要覺得呢個係我回饋社會嘅一個機會啦。
Actually, Neil, just what you tell us, your background's quite unique. You have a business background and also plus 20 years plus of environment, it's very disciplined. And you also have a background to live in a strange environment that you get the feeling as an immigrant, how you feel. So I think this is a unique combination that you may be able to offer to the resident of Ward 4. 其實Neil 佢嗰個背景都幾特別啦，佢20年嘅軍旅生活，令到佢可以喺唔同嘅地方生活過。佢要明白到，身為一個外來者喺人哋嘅地方生活嘅時候，好似一個移民咁啦，佢感覺嘅嘢係點感覺到，人哋點樣睇佢。另外，佢亦都有一個生意嘅經驗，咁生意嘅經驗可以俾佢學到管理嘅才華顯露出嚟。Actually, based on your background, and you work in Markham, you live in Markham. But in the last 10 years, but you never be in politics. And did you deal with, and also what you feel is the primary issues right now in the municipal government?
Yeah, well, thank you, Ben. There are issues. I think that the major issue that I'm hearing, and I've knocked on a lot of doors and talked to a lot of people that live in Ward 4.
呢個係好嘅問題啊 Ben， 咁咧就我過去開始從參政嘅時間咧，就我不停去跟我哋嘅社區嘅接觸，咁我哋每日都會敲門同我哋嘅鄰居我哋嘅第4區嘅人去談話，咁我知道咗好多佢哋嘅關心嘅事題。
What I'm hearing is there seems to be a disconnect between councillors that sit with the city and the actual residents that live in the ward. And I'm a people person. I like to meet with people and talk with people, and that's something that I would bring to the table if I'm elected in October.
經過我同社區嘅交談咧，我發覺原來坐喺市政廳嘅 councillor 啦，就同我哋嘅市民本身已經有咗一段嘅距離。咁而家我係一個好喜愛係同人交往嘅人嚟嘅，咁所以我特別喺呢方面咧，想將個距離咧盡量拉近嘅。
So one of the things I would try to establish is a method where residents can communicate with their councillor. Not everybody wants to be involved in a community, but those that do, I would create a subscription list. So if there were issues you wanted to bring to your councillor, you could easily do it. And it also gives me a method to communicate with my residents.
嗱，我又提議有一個機制，如果我當選嘅話咧，我會推動一個機制，就係話有一個平台。就所有人咧可以係登記參與，咁所有我哋市政廳嘅信息咧，佢可以馬上傳達俾我哋，亦我哋可以經由呢個平台咧傳達嘅信息俾我哋嘅市民嘅。當然唔係每個人都願意參與嘅社區嘅，咁但係所有參與嘅人咧，我哋都盡量會同佢有一個密切嘅聯繫嘅。
So I'll be taking my direction on my position on major issues from the feedback and the communication I get from my residents.
我就經由呢個機制所收到嘅信息咧，我會盡量去反映去我哋嘅council 或者係我哋嘅市政廳嘅。
Also, to make sure that residents know that the only influence on my decisions are their best interests, I've decided that I would not accept donations to my campaign from corporations or other organizations.
為咗俾人一個安心嘅感覺，就係話我真係會係用我嘅才幹，用我嘅知識咧去奉獻社會，去貢獻社會嘅。咁所以咧，我唔會可以喺呢度講，我唔會收取任何商業嘅捐款或者團體嘅捐款嘅。
And I guess the number one issue that I hear at the door is traffic congestion and overdevelopment.
我第一聽見最嚴重嘅問題，佢最關心嘅問題就係嗰個交通擠塞嘅個問題喺萬錦市，同埋咧亦係過量嘅發展。
Yeah, it's developing to a point where not taking into consideration for the infrastructure that has to go with that development. If you're going to put a lot of development in an area, you're going to build homes or condos, you have to think about the people that live there and how they're going to get in and out of those areas as they commute to and from work. And I'm afraid a lot of that thought hasn't gone into some of the development, and that seems to be a concern that I hear.
頭先所謂過量嘅發展就係話，如果你一個城市要發展，係要同你嘅設施配套咧係要相等嘅。咁舉個例就係話，我哋樓宇太多，商業太多，而我哋個交通嘅通道咧係唔足夠去供應呢個人流量嘅話咧，咁我哋就需要去考慮呢個問題啦。
Actually, you just mentioned about every city, even the province itself, they all encounter the traffic issue. 其實交通問題咧喺好多城市，包括我哋嘅省嚟講啦，都係一個問題係好難以解決嘅，因為人嘅工作同埋人嘅居住咧係唔一定係喺埋一齊嘅。Actually, a lot of traffic congestions caused by work and live place are totally different. People have to cross the border to work. Well, can you think Markham or Watford can create more employment land so people can work locally?
Absolutely, and I think it's the overall plan in developing the city, and it's ultimately the responsibility of the city to have an overall plan about where it's going to put areas where people can be working. So not everybody lives in Markham as to get to the 404 or the 407 to get out and get back in again. There has definitely been some areas around creating employment in Markham. But it doesn't seem to gel well with where the development is for residents and where the developments are for creating employment, and it doesn't seem to be a lot of thought going into how traffic will move from where people are living and where people are working.
當然係啦，如果由一個地方去另一個地方，有一個地方居住去一個工作嘅地方咧，如果每次都要經過一個好擠擁嘅渠道嘅通道咧，好似係404啊，或者427啊、401啊咁嘅話咧，咁事實係一個好煩擾嘅事情嚟嘅。咁但係我仲睇見咧。萬錦市咧就我會盡量去找尋一個適合發展工作嘅地區。
其實Neil都不斷喺佢嘅講話中都提及到，就係話市民同坐喺市議會嘅人已經有咗脫節啦。市民嘅願望未必入到市議會噶啦，所以佢一直講緊佢話佢好希望咧係透過好多唔同嘅渠道，直接上將市民嘅意見帶入去呢個市議會。And actually, we'll just a little bit summarize what Neil talked with us in the last 15 minutes. And basically, he found there's a distance between the resident and the councillor. So this is one of your motivation to come out to get elected, because you found that the current councillor committed something that you don't really want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really about a disconnect. And if you think about the issues that were issues over the last 4 years, and the one issue I think would come to mind would be the GTA Centre.
係啊，我其實唔係完全因為溝通嗰個問題，但係大家係唔係好理解嘅問題。咁我就會喺呢方面就點樣去融合成個大多市去做呢個規範嘅。
And irregardless if you were strongly in favor of that project or if you were strongly opposed to that project, I think you can agree that there was little engagement as that process proceeded over 2 or 3 years.
其實係呢個過程之中大家會唔會認同咧，或者有冇辦法市民可唔可以配合呢個過程咧？咁我想用我呢個平台可以做到呢一個目的。
Something that's so important to residents of Markham, it shouldn't move to the point where they were ready to finalize a project before residents were engaged. And I think that was the biggest mistake they made on that. And it's not only that project, it's most projects. We're finding out about it very late into the program and often in the newspaper.
而家我哋萬金市曾經有個嘅例子，就係話我哋需要有啲項目去推行，但係而咧係市民咧都未完全認識嘅。咁到呢個項目推行嘅時間咧，已經係比較接近，而市民係冇乜機會去反映佢哋嘅意見嘅。
Actually, I do see that in the city of Markham, the recently there's actually couple issues. The meeting open till 2 a.m. in the morning in the council meeting. So I believe it's a lot of people have want to express their opinion and maybe don't have the chance in advance to express their concern or wait till last minute. So maybe only 2 days or 1 day left. So that's why everybody lie out. 其實最近都睇到咧，喺萬錦市都有好多公眾要關心嘅議題咧，都係喺市議會要討論嘅時候咧，都係通宵達旦嚟討論嘅。到底係因為嗰個議程係好難去揾一個兩全其美嘅方法啦，定係話其實呢啲議程係太政治化 ？Actually, sometimes I feel that issues are maybe too complicated and need a lot of time and a lot of due diligence study. But sometimes issues are become political. How you see this issue in the city council? Because basically, city should not involve any party. But right now, I do tend to see in a lot of municipal government, people have background from different party. They bring in their politics point of view into the city.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. One of the things I like with municipal politics is that you're not constrained by a political party.
係呢個就係我點解會中意參與市政嘅原因啊，因為我唔會受到唔同嘅政黨嘅指揮或者影響嘅。
While I've been involved with different political parties in the past, as a councillor, I can represent views from all sides and not have to be dictated on how I feel about an issue or I'm going to vote on an issue based on party lines.
我曾經亦係接觸過係唔同嘅政黨，咁亦係因為咁樣咧，我參與呢個市政嘅選舉咧，咁我所有嘅議題咧，我唔會受到各唔同嘅政黨去影響我嘅，因為呢個市政廳嘅議題咧係冇黨派嘅。
But I guess in all fairness, it's pretty hard to keep politics out of politics.
但係老實講啊，其實就好難完全係唔俾嗰啲政客或者有政黨嘅背景嘅政客去影響嘅。
Actually, it's a matter of fact, right? 其實呢個係一個事實嚟嘅。要一個冇政治立場嘅一個議題咧，其實好多時候係難可能係冇可能嘅事嚟嘅。咁其實喺呢個咁多個候選人入邊，我哋而家要睇下點解要選擇一個候選人，其實你係站喺邊個立場呢？其實喺市政府方面呢，我哋廣大嘅市民有啲人各有各唔同嘅立場。咁長遠啦，定係短視呢？因為好多嘢喺短暫嚟講，今日嘅痛楚係聽日嘅賺取。Actually, a lot of planning is short-term pain, long-term gain. So a lot of people don't want to raise their tax. A lot of people don't want to have new infrastructure because the potential tax be increased. So to ensure get elect next 4 years, end of the term, if I propose to raise tax, I'll get chopped. But if I say no tax increase, I get my job. But no tax increase, every infrastructure need funding. Where money coming from? So Neil, how you see this?
Well, I think it goes back to the issue I had before. If people are reasonable, If you're talking to people and you're saying, "Listen, here's our vision. We want to develop our city to do this. It's going to take a certain amount of time to improve Highway 7, but here's our long-term vision." If that two-way communication was going on throughout the process, I think you could get buy-in. But the problem is most people are not aware what the city's agenda is.
我所覺得咧就市民嘅眼睛其實係雪亮嘅。譬如一個項目要實踐嘅時間咧，就只要清清楚楚解釋俾佢哋聽嗰個結果點樣，同埋個支出幾多，咁整體嘅圖畫俾佢哋知道嘅話咧，咁其實佢哋可以做到一個明確嘅決定嘅。咁我都會喺呢方面咧去盡我嘅努力嘅。
Actually, I think transparency, accountability will just add up to what you just said is really important。其實好多時我哋每一個出嚟從政嘅人，代表市民發聲音嘅人，對於市政嘅透明度或者責任制，其實大家都覺得係好重要嘅。咁 actually for transparency, looks like you are not too happy with the current situation because you find that a lot of things is always last stage before go to the public hearing. So that means the transparency are gone. But how you improve that?
Okay, so a couple things. I mentioned before that I would, for me, my responsibility is to be a good representative for Ward 4. So I'm putting things in place so I can communicate with my residents.
嗱，我知道明白我嘅責任咧，就係我代表 Ward 4嘅居民去發聲音嘅，咁所以我會盡量聆聽佢哋嘅意見。
By giving them the opportunity to basically to subscribe to a list that I will be using not to market and promote myself, but as a way to communicate with them.
所以我就剛才建議有個平台，可以任何人可以登記，然後我哋嘅信息咧就由嗰個平台上面交流。咁我唔係用呢個做一個競選嘅活動或者宣傳自己，而係只係溝通嘅作用。
That's Neil, you got a really good point here. So I think this is one of the reasons why people to elect you. So what are other reasons that people in Ward 4 should cast their vote to you?
Thank you, Ben. I love when people ask me that question. So in the last 7 weeks, I've knocked on over 4,000 doors. So that's 4,000. Out of those 4,000 doors, probably 2,000 of them opened.
嗱，過去咁多個星期之中咧，我就已經係大約同接觸過4,000間居民嘅房屋，咁我亦同佢哋好清楚咁溝通過、交談過，咁就佢哋都好認識我，都明白我點解要選舉我嘅。
So that means I've been face to face with at least 2,000 people. Out of those 2,000 people, I've had hundreds and hundreds of one-on-one conversations with the people that are in my ward.
從呢四間屋嘅探訪之中咧，我係起碼係同2,000個人面對面咁樣去交談嘅，咁佢哋都好清楚我係點樣可以幫得到佢哋嘅。
And my goal before the election is to try to get to 12,000. I want to knock on 12,000 doors before the October 27th election.
我係計劃咧喺投選嗰日嘅之前咧，我會盡量去見多啲我哋嘅社區嘅人，希望可以達到12,000戶，咁然後直接同佢哋交談嘅。
So I'm going to run on a campaign of having transparency and communicating with the members of Ward 4, then I've got to live it. I've got to prove to them that that's my ambition, and I'm doing that and living that now by getting out 5 hours a day, every day, talking to the people that live in Ward 4.
我主要咧就係要有透明度，我堅持係要一個透明有誠信嘅，咁所以我不停係要同佢哋盡量溝通，認識我哋嘅居民。呢個就係我過去或者將來係堅持要做嘅事情啦。
So I think Neil just tell us why we have to make a difference. Now, municipal are different from province. 其實省同市政級係唔同嘅，有好多我哋揾市員其實就要代表我哋喺市政方面，即係日常嘅生活嗰方面咧，點樣安排到我哋嘅生活順暢啦？我哋譬如話係一啲起居嘅嘢，每日同自己生活上有接觸到嘅嘢，能夠可以幫到我哋手嘅，嗰個就係一個議員。And actually, I think now our audience quite clear that where's Neil coming from. And so when you want somebody that can representing you to put a voice into the city council in the city of Markham, and now you know what to do. And I believe, and most of the candidates, they will all devote and have a good heart. But every people are different. 其實每一個人呢，佢哋都好有唔同嘅心，佢哋一定係一顆熱誠。佢哋冇呢個熱誠，佢哋其實好似阿 Neil 咁，佢有生意，佢亦都係有屋企嘅人，佢可以放下佢自己做緊嘅嘢啦，係出嚟去參與一個為民服務嘅嘢。其實我哋身為一個選民，我哋無論你對於每一個候選者，你嘅意見覺得係認同或者否定都好啦，你都應該用你神聖嗰一票出嚟投俾你喜歡嗰個， 或者能夠代表你嗰個，到底佢個人嘅意願能唔能夠為你達到目的？唔好因為佢達唔到目的而放棄你自己嘅權利。今日好多謝阿 Neil， 咁其實亦都多謝阿 Raymond Tam 同阿 Neil 嚟做個翻譯。Thank you Neil for coming here today. I believe our residents will know what to do.
Thank you, Ben.
多謝。
以上內容純屬個人言論，所提及嘅政綱均以嘉賓原話為準，並不代表本台立場，敬請留意。立場敬請留意。立場敬請留意。立場。